Hi guys, it's Vishali here. I just covered Chelsea's game against Bournemouth, a game that they've won 1-0 thanks to Eden Hazard's second half strike. And instead of going through the match today, what I wanted to do was just highlight a few key points from the game and things that I thought were particularly interesting. And the first of which is, of course, Eden Hazard's performance, his match-winning performance. Today was his third goal in 3 games in all competitions because, of course, he scored those 2 goals against Roma in the Champions League. And what was interesting was, for me, was just, how much in confidence he has grown over the last week or so. I mean, he said coming into this game that, of course, when you start scoring, your confidence goes up. And you could see that against Bournemouth today. He linked up really well with Alvaro Morata. We've seen that before. But also Pedro, Fabregas, he put in the kind of performance that shows just why Chelsea missed him earlier on in the season. And if you think, as well, if Morata doesn't score in games, Hazard, when he's there playing, you kind of feel that he's either going to create a goal or he's going to score. So his return to not just fitness, but his return to kind of, his best kind of form is going to be crucial for Chelsea coming to his congested fixture list. I think that's a huge positive for Conte. I think he would have thought that too today. The other really, really pleasing thing for Conte, and this is something he actually said after the game, was that Chelsea finally managed to keep a clean sheet. Because, of course, they hadn't kept a clean sheet since September, and that was against Stoke in the Premier League. This was their first clean sheet in 7 games, And what Conte talked about before is how frustrated he's been. For example, in the game against Everton, for example, in that game against Nottingham Forest, where Chelsea looked like they were going to keep a clean sheet and then they just let in a late goal, for example. And he hasn't been happy with that. And I think today what kind of helped, obviously, was the fact that for Bournemouth, their main attacking threats, Defoe was taken off at half-time, Stanislas came off and Afobe came off with injury. And that obviously helped Chelsea in terms of keeping out the goals. What I also think has helped solidify Chelsea, and something that Conte has kind of mentioned, is actually Antonio Rudiger. He's looking really, really assured in defence. And you kind of think with his kind of form and the form he's showing, what it kind of means for Cahill's place in the team. Like, Cahill is captain, he was made captain in the summer, and you can't quite see how he wouldn't play week in, week out, but he was rested here today. But you certainly think that with Rudiger, Luiz and Azpilicueta, now Azpilicueta hasn't exactly had the most consistent of seasons, but today he was absolutely superb. If you think of how good those 3 have been, you might see Cahill beginning to get rested a bit more as the season goes on, because Conte now has quite a lot of options in defence and really, really good options. The other thing I thought was really good for Chelsea was the fact that they kept up the winning momentum. It wasn't just about winning. It was about just getting, a run of wins in a row. They've now won 3 straight games. They, of course, won today. They beat Everton, they beat Watford, and that's going to be huge for their confidence going into that huge game with Roma, and of course that huge game with Manchester United next weekend. And what was interesting, I think, was Conte. He was talking to BT Sport after the game, and we were watching it on TV, and he said that the win kind of sends a signal to those people who think that he's under pressure, that he's thinking about leaving, that other managers might be being lined up for this job. For him, it was kind of a signal and a sign to everyone that, look, the players are still fighting for me, which I do believe, and things are back on track, as it were, for Chelsea. And it certainly seems so after today's win.